Shalom Uvracha. In Parashat Beha'alotecha, we have two psukim that are surrounded, encompassed by kind of brackets, two inverted nuns, letters. The letter nun is printed twice, one before these psukim, one after, in order to envelop, to encompass these psukim as separate psukim. According to one interpretation in the Gemara, it means that these psukim form a separate book. They are a sefer, a book unto themselves. What are these psukim that create this separate book? They read, Vayihi bin Aron, the psukim that we recite every time we take out the Sefer Torah. Vayihi bin Aron, when Aron traveled, then Vayomer Moshe, then Moshe said, Kuma Hashem, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Hashem, arise, Vayafutzu Eivecha, and your enemies shall be scattered, Vayanusu Mesanecha Mipanecha, and our haters, our enemies, should flee from before you and the Jewish people. And then Uvnechoyemar, when the Aron encamped, when it stopped, then Shuva Hashem Rivavos Alfei Yisrael. And we say these psukim the whole time. Why do they make up a separate book? So my Rabbi, Rav Moshe Shapira, Zechroni Livracha, used to quote from the Chida, that even though this is a small book right now, it's only two psukim, but le'asid lavei, in future times, it will be revealed as the greatest, the largest of all books of the Torah, because all of Jewish history is encompassed within this small book. All of our travels across the course of Jewish history are travels that constitute Torah. They're travels with Hashem as part of a relationship with Hashem. And therefore this book travels with us. The Aron is always with us, even though the Aron physically we don't have, but the idea of the Aron, the connection with Hashem, is always with us. And that's why this book makes up such a central facet, element of the Torah. It's encompassed by two letters, nun, to indicate that these travels are a separate book unto itself. But I think there's also another message here. What happens on the travels that are described in these psukim? The answer is a war. The Aron travels with us, and it fights the wars of the Jewish people. V'yafutzu eivecha, your enemies should be scattered. V'yanusu mesanecha, your haters, your enemies should flee from before you. Meaning, what are our travels? Our traveling from Har Sinai, in this case, to Canaan, to the Promised Land, is a journey that constitutes a war. And indeed, even after we reach the Promised Land, even after we build the Mikdash, the temple, and the Aron, the holy ark, with the Torah, with the Luchos, dwells in the temple, nevertheless, when the Jewish people went out to war, and exclusively, only when they went out for war, did the Aron travel with them. And why? Because when we fight the wars of the Jewish people, then we are fulfilling the most basic, the most core function of the Jewish people, to destroy the evil in the world, to destroy the enemies, and to ensure the integrity of the good, to ensure the integrity of the Jewish homeland, which is the place where Hashem resides among us. And that's when the Aron travels with us. And this has such a remarkable message, such an important contemporary message for us, because we're speaking today, every day, for days and weeks and even months, about the issue of the Charedi draft, enlistment of Charedim in the IDF. And the focus of this issue is often on numbers. We don't have enough numbers of soldiers. The reserve units are unfortunately going through very harsh times. They are collapsing under the strain of being away from home for months and over a year on end. We're talking about families and jobs, and it's very, very difficult. And we need more regular soldiers. The forces have been depleted through injuries and lo aleinu, through deaths, through fallen soldiers, our fallen heroes. And we have a new perspective on what we need. We don't want a small and technologically advanced army. We need a big army, and therefore we need more soldiers. And that, of course, is a legitimate framing. Of course, it's true. We need Haredi soldiers in the IDF to make up the numbers. That's true, absolutely. But you know what? We need something else too. We need Haredi soldiers in the IDF because we want an army that fights with a connection with Hashem, with a connection with the Kodesh Baruch Hu. The whole point of Vayehi ben Soya is that we fight with the Aron among us, and the Aron reminds us, it expresses, articulates the connection between Hashem and the Jewish people, and that's how we fight. We don't just fight in our name, we fight in God's name. We don't just fight our battles, we fight Hashem's battles. And when we fight, we don't rely on our strength and fall into the trap of koichi ve'otzim yadi, that it's my strength and the might of my hands that has wrought for me all of this success. But rather, we appreciate that Hashem is fighting with us, and Hashem gives us the strength to fight and to succeed. And in order that our army should look like that, it's our privilege to go into the army. It's our duty to be a part of the army. We shouldn't be going into the army dragged on all fours into the army because Israel is forcing us. We should be there because we need to be there, because we want to be there, because it's a privilege to be there, because that's how our army can be the most successful army in the world, because it's an army of Hashem and the Jewish people with that eternal connection. And of course we need to think about the proper balance between those who are studying Torah and those who are in the army. But right now, we can all agree that that balance is not being properly constituted. We don't have anyone. We have a few. There are a few Charedim in the IDF. I'm not saying there's no one there. On the contrary, I'm a part of an organization that supports the Haredi soldiers in the army. And Baruch Hashem, there are. But they're few and far between. There should be many thousands. All of those who are not in full-time Torah study, and there are many, many thousands of young Haredi men who are not in full-time Torah study, they should be in the army today. They should be in the army immediately. And if they would be, then our army would be an elevated army. It is today, but it would be even more elevated. It would be an army that expresses on a deeper level, on a more profound level, the connection between Hashem and the Jewish people. It would be a more successful army because it would be a more holy army. V'haya machanecha kadosh. Our camp has to be holy. Why does our camp has to be holy? Because Hashem is with us in our camp. So really, it's up to us. You know, of course, we can say, it's up to you, Israel. Israel needs to coerce the Haredim to be in the army. Is that really how it should look? We should be lining up. Our young men, those who are not in Torah study, those who are in full-time Torah study, they should study. Baruch Hashem, they're fulfilling a wonderful value of Torah study, and it's a privilege to have them there. But there's so many thousands who are not. And what are they doing? They're not fulfilling themselves. They would fulfill themselves and us and Israel and the Jewish people in a wonderful way if they would be dedicated to where they should be in the army today, fulfilling both the mitzvah of defending the Jewish people and bringing the elevation to the camp that the Torah demands. And every time when we take out the Sefer Torah and we say Vayehi ben Soya ha'Aron, we should be remembering this basic message that the core journey of the Jewish people is the journey of our wars to defeat the evil that threatens the Jewish people physically and spiritually. HaKadosh Baruch Hu should deliver our enemies into our hands. Our camp should be sanctified as the Torah demands that it is, and we should be zoicha, we should merit to have the besoros tovos, the good tidings that we so anticipate. Shabbat Shalom, good Shabbos to all.